Hi, hello, good morning, my officers. Welcome to this early morning free live class on Unacademy UPSC Articulate YouTube channel. So this is Nisha Nujumudeen, your educated Unacademy, an expert in Indian economy, current affairs and MCQs. So here we are for the month of February with another important series, guys, which is none other than the current topics and news for UPSC CSE 2022. So not only for your prelims perspective, even for the mains answer writing and also for the interview perspective, this particular regular early morning 6 a.m. series will definitely help you. It is also a forum where you will be able to express your viewpoints towards the end of the class with regard to the various hot or let's say the hit list topics of the day. So today, if you see guys, I have chosen an amazing topic and that is called as formalization of the informal sector, which is the need of the hour. So now the question is how far you agree when you talk about formalization of the entire informal sector, which we claim it to be the need of the hour, how far is that true or how far do you agree? Which means the informal sector ratio is not 1 or 2%. Rather, it is more than the average of majority, right? We know the reality. So keeping in mind those particular perspectives, only this particular topic has been jotted out. It is one of the most current topic that is in news as well. So yes, how are you all? I think after a gap of 1 week, I'm back to this class. Yes, Deva, Ravi, Deepesh, good morning. Yes, Deva, am I still not visible for you people? I think I'm visible. Please refresh all of you. I can see your messages. I am able to see your messages, but I don't understand why it is showing as not visible to you. So there is some tech issues. Do not worry. We'll rectify it at the earliest. Is it all fine now? Yes, all of you? Perfect. It should be actually. Yeah. Quickly, let me know. Perfect. So that's a Thursday morning, a warm morning to all of you. So let's begin the month of February. That is yesterday and day before we'd never had a 6 a.m. class. But anyway, let's begin the month of February with another set of amazing topics out there. So every Monday to Friday, you have this regular 6 a.m. class. But taking into consideration the request of few people, the coming Saturday also, since we didn't have February 1 and 2 classes, we'll be doing it on Saturday as well. Clear? The same session will be happening on Saturday also, and most probably Sunday also, because Monday and Tuesday we missed out. Not Monday, Tuesday and Thursday. That is February 1 and 2. So to compensate that, we'll do it on Saturday and Sunday. Clear? So this week it will be a little tight, guys. But anyways, yes, Puval, good morning to you as well. So slowly people are joining. So here we go. So now this is the importance of this particular topic, as I was telling you, because taking into consideration the 90% of the people who are put up in the informal sector of our country, India, we need to give a lot of push into what exactly it is. Right. So now formalization of the same is very important also. Yes, Rishabh? Here we go. Finally, again, live session. Yes, definitely, Rishabh. We got to. Actually, I don't understand. There was a few trouble out there, Rishabh, but do not worry. I was very particular that today, whatever happens, whatever tech issue happens, we are going live. No doubt in that. But luckily, by God's grace, yeah, we began the month of February, in this February 3rd Thursday with this. So here I will be there even Saturday, Sunday also. So get your clocks ready and make sure you're coming for the class. Take care. And I put a notification also in the group. Whenever early morning, if I put a notification in the group, please understand 101% there is class. Be it Telegram or be it WhatsApp. Nisha Nujumudeen for UPSC is a Telegram ka staff. The name. So make sure that you are, coming for it. Yes, Deva, ma'am, Union Budget class, Edunga, release Nirmala Sitaram. Definitely, it will be a 2-hour class, not just the highlights. The analysis, the criticisms, the advantage in multiple perspectives. That is Nisha ma'am's style of analysis will definitely be done. I am not going to do it today or tomorrow. Probably I may do it on Saturday. Sunday, because I know that lot of people are doing the budget analysis because it is just released. I'm taking more time because I'm doing the analysis even more. So it will take at least another day or so. Let everybody else do. You go watch every other analysis and come back and see the difference of our class. Okay? As always. Okay, so we'll do it. Aram se we'll do it and we'll make sure that we are doing it in the best possible way. It will be like a marathon series. But not too late. Saturday or Sunday we'll do. Okay? Yes, Rishabh, even now registration has started. Yeah, it has been started. Notification is released. I am there to help you. Why? Why to worry, Rishabh? And I'm so happy seeing you all, I mean, the early morning classes are always giving us a huge energy, the positive vibe to kickstart a day as well, right? And that too with the amazing topics is something which makes us feel even more happier. So that is something really to be understood, है ना? Yes, Faiz, good morning. I'm doing good, thank you. We'll see you for the 6 p.m. class also, Faiz. So anyways, here we go. So this is the importance, guys, why this particular topic has been chosen. So now before going into detail in a short, crisp and to the point manner, let me quickly tell you guys the benefit of this particular series. This is not a new series. Since Jan 10, 2022, we have been doing this. You can just have a look into it. I'm just going to show you the details. So since then we are doing, guys, starting from various topics based on Monetary Policy Report, then from social justice with regard to legal age of marriage, then the digital public goods, blocks and technology, sub kuch. You can just see the topics. We have been covering multiple dimensions, multiple subjects in a very interesting manner. Not based on the usual analysis, but something which makes you think the pros and cons of that particular topic, then putting out the way forward from the government point of view and from your point of view in a very balanced and neutral way is what we discuss, right? So that will make you more efficient in understanding one particular concept or let's say topic in the best manner. And apart from the current affair analysis or the current discussion, what is the background of that particular topic, the background understanding, which consists of the concept clearing, which consists of a pure understanding of what that particular topic is all about. Why are you even studying that? So all these particular perspectives we will be discussing. Clear? And today's topic is from the area governance. India as the economy and the challenge of informality. That's what I said. Formalization of informal sector is the need of the hour. But the question is how far you agree. And now you can see the above topics, guys, regarding asset monetization. Then you can see regarding inter-government collaboration. These two topics are not taken. It was scheduled for the previous day, but due to tech issues, we couldn't take. But nothing to worry. In the coming days, these two topics from IR and economy will definitely be handled for you. Clear? So that will be done at the earliest. And now you can find the playlist of all these sessions, guys, in my in the channel as well. So what you do is go to the playlist and make sure that you're not missing out anything. Is it clear? And you can just go through the profile and all other details. Now, two important things which I want to tell you people is listen. The regular schedule of my session. Can you see a link that is pinned up in the chat box? Unacademy article in Nisha Nujumudeen. Can you see that? That is the link of my Unacademy profile, which will take you to this particular profile. Okay? Can you see a follow button? Click over there. So now a page like this will appear. Special classes, plus means paid and special means free. So now the timing is 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. 6 a.m. is the YouTube current sessions, current topics in news classes, and 6 p.m. we have the UPSC level MCQs for Prelims 2022 with a 360-degree coverage. So this is what we'll be doing at the 6 p.m. as well. So in these two timings, I'll be exclusively doing the daily rituals in the Unacademy free platform. 6 a.m. in YouTube and 6 p.m. in free or special classes. And these are the topics. So what you study in theory, it's time for us to convert them into practice. It's time to test what you study. So how will you get access to these free classes? Download the app. Follow me here. Use the code Nisha IAS Live. Can you see? So you can unlock the free content. You can watch it. Even for the plus class also same thing. Yes, Deva? What about the separate WhatsApp group for 6 a.m. morning class students? It will be done today, Deva, in the 6 p.m. free classes what we have today, which is starting today for the month of February. I'll give you the details. Click that and join. And I know who are the regular learners, so the other learners I'll cut off. Don't worry. Okay, I'll put forward the links. Yes, Rishabh, daily rituals. Daily rituals means this is a ritual. Na? Every day you're doing it. So daily ritual, not the other one ritual, Rishabh. So Kallatram you are. Yes, Deepesh, everything looks good. Yeah, yes, finally. It does. It does looks good, my dear. So this is the Telegram and I'm very happy, morning when you see the students with a lot of vibe and energy, come on. Acha hai, mera dil bahut khush hai, let me tell you that. Yes, LM, I know that definitely will add you. And 6 a.m. students are always special because they are students who I will definitely offer extra 20% discount for subscription. I have decided it from my own perspective and yes, I'm going to do that. So I will tell you a lot of secrets in the group, not here. Yes, Tejesh, good morning. And all those looking for plus subscription, the paid subscription, do it soon. Because if you want to be a UPSC CSE topper with Unacademy, go for the iconic one, go for the batches to be a part of the Hindi, English bilingual batches for 2022 and 2023 in a structurized manner from the top educators in our country across India. Not only me, you got to get the subscription. And the advantage is, if you get the subscription along with the helping of discounts, I will be your exclusive personal mentor. Okay. And now it is normally 10%, but I'll offer you 20% from the fee amount. Don't worry. But that will be done only for few students. That's a scholarship given by me, guys. So make sure that you are qualifying that. I will tell you the details for it. Not for everyone. Take care. Let me please tell you that. And via loan also same thing. You can go for loan. You can get the same discount and all. For that, we'll discuss via the group. Take care. Is it clear? And I know there are a lot of students who have not taken subscription. Feel free to contact me via Telegram, Insta, whatever, and also the official platform. So I will help you out. The team will help you out in the same. Clear? So a lot of surprises for the month of February. Even the plus courses are coming. And to all the free class students taking into consideration request and demand, I thought I'll do this. To study, UPSC CSE for 3 years, iconic subscription for 1 lakh is such a great thing, which I'll be doing for you people. So you'll be saving around 58 to 60,000 rupees here. So that is what I can do at the maximum for the students who are very, very dedicated and passionate. Clear? And also via the loan perspective. So enough of all the stuffs out there. So now it's time for us to quickly have a look into the topic. So before that, let's begin the day with an amazing good morning quote, guys, which is indeed very important to boost up your spirits and motivations. So here we go. The quote of the day for you people. Ability of a person is not how he has planned, but how he stands and faces the challenge of life when everything he has planned has gone wrong. Don't you think so? Yes? So you got to be confident. It's very, very important. I repeat, the ability of a person is not like how you have planned or how you stand and face the challenge of life. But then suddenly, even for your prelims, 0.5 marks, you are completely thrashed. Oh my goodness, everything has gone wrong. But that time when you are confident and the ability to overcome that, to understand your mistake, forget the mistake, learn the lesson. That will make you a great individual for the next part of your life, for the next journey of your life, to redefine the so-called evolution of what you have brought into this planet Earth. So this is the kind of notion you should have in your life, no matter whatever, be it IAS, be it IPS, or be it any of your personal life scenario also. This is something to be followed. Clear? So that's a happy morning to all of you. Have a fresh start of the day with me. And here we go with the so-called informal sector. Why? Because it is the need of the hour. Don't you think so? So yes, are you all ready? Come on, quickly give me a thumbs up, yaar. Why so delay? You got to be really fast. Perfect. Here we go. And why are we studying this particular topic, my young officers? The reason is because it is from the area governance and also Indian economy perspective. Okay. In the last few years, if you see the government of India, okay, we have been doing a lot of efforts. We know that if you see since Arvind Subramaniam sir, when he was the chief economic advisor to the government of India, then we had Krishnamurthy and today we have, Anand Nageshwar sir and all. So then since that time, so why I'm saying Arvind Subramaniam sir is he was also my professor. So even during that time, a beautiful economic survey was released by him, where he is the only single economist who kept on saying, formalization of informal sector is the need of the hour. I got this title actually from him. I think in all my previous classes also, be it YouTube, be it special class, I have been telling about this. You remember? So now, this is not a joke for the fact that we are an emerging or a developing economy, right? And now, majority of population, it is majority of the population, they are put up in the so-called informal sector. And now you can connect this topic to the next important dimension. What is that? Unemployment perspective, which is another social evil, a biggest social evil for our country, India. So now this particular topic has different dimensions. So now, using the method of interengaging or using the 3C method of approach exclusively developed by me, you got to connect them. Concept, comprehensive part, then connecting them with the trending current affairs. And also the BRRM method, brain retention memory technique introduced by me again, which I've taught you in the special classes of Unacademy. So this is very much important for this particular topic because multiple subtopics are connected. Informality, unemployment issue, GDP perspective, poverty, hunger, malnutrition, then the living standard, per capita income. So multiple keywords are connected. Clear? And also the recent Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, that is also another topic that is connected. So here we go. The reason why we study this particular topic is, see, we all know that the government of India, okay, over the years, they have been doing a lot of efforts. Why? Because they want to formalize the so-called Indian economy. That is why they introduced what? The GST, Goods and Service Tax. Then they made all things online, or let's say digitalization of financial transactions. And even the government makes sure that they're taking an effort of enrolling the informal or the unorganized sector workers on the government portals like e-Shram or electronic Shram and all. So multiple things have been done. It's not like the government is not doing things, but in spite of that, we need to understand why. Why are we not able to completely convert the informal, sector to formal sector, at least by 50%? Because even today, more than 90% of population still depend upon that. So why is that happening? So you cannot change the entire informal sector. So what we can do? Let us formalize. We can't ask the person from an informal or an unorganized sector to completely change. So let us formalize the informal sector, which makes 2x or let's say 3x ka multiple benefits out there. Okay? So now the whole point is, despite all these efforts done by government, that was the well-intentioned efforts done by government, I can tell you, formalization, that's not happening to the core. And the challenge of informality on unorganized sector, they are looming large for our country, India. And thus, the so-called novel coronavirus pandemic that has only aggravated the so-called challenge. That is true. Because the ones who are in the formal sector is also facing issue. Just think about the ones in the informal unorganized. Khatam ho gayi. Wo uska ka zindagi hai na? That was the condition. People suffered a lot. So multiple things have been connected over there. Am I right? Yes, that is the reality indeed. Let me tell you that. So now, taking into consideration all these things, formal sector is who, guys? The employees who are coming under the government, who are registered, who has a fixed salary, or let's say who knows that, okay, these are the benefits they're going to get. Whereas informal sector means they have no guarantee for their job. If they're not coming or registered directly into the government regulation or control is not direct on them, and their wages and salaries are not fixed and not regular as a whole. And now, the benefits that they get, that is not in par with the benefits that they're supposed to get as well, because a formal sector employee gets 10 times better than that. And now informal sector doesn't mean that it's only the vendors or let's say the normal people out there. Even the ones working in private organizations, even they are informal sector or unorganized sector. They may be doing a white collar job, but that doesn't mean that their job is secured or they're having a security out there. Anytime they can be thrown out, especially in the context of MNCs, multinational companies, or let's say the IT people out there. What happened in the pandemic? We saw that even the ones who were earning 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh or even 3 lakh, they lost their job because the entire globe was actually entering into recession. But we didn't go to recession, our country, India. What is recession? Slowing down of economic activities, right? But that is why we brought the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, the 20 lakh crore economic stimulus package out there, taking into consideration the informal sector perspective. So now multiple things have been done. So keeping all these things in mind, let's quickly have a look into this particular topic from this particular juncture. Did you understand? Why are you studying this? This is the basic background understanding of this particular topic. Fine? Now don't you think so? This is quite an important topic to be discussed and not to be left out? Yes, it is. And thus, here we go. Why do you think there should be a quick or a faster, formalization of the informal sector? Lack of job security, absence of social security benefits, tax evasion, people evading or escaping of paying tax in illegal way. See, tax evasion and tax avoidance are two different things. Tax evasion means via all the kallatrams, the real wala kallatrams, not the cute wala kallatram, which I tell in class, the real corruption, the real fraudery ways of avoiding to pay the tax. Evasion is illegal way of avoiding to pay a tax. If your income is 50,000, you'll make it 20,000, showing other kind of loans and that and etc. etc. Get a good auditor, you get the things done. Whereas tax avoidance is you show out your details. Let us, for example, in the month of March, you can see when you're liable to pay a tax, be it a formal or informal sector person, mostly a formal sector employee, or let's say others who are liable for it. They'll produce all the necessary documents, your health insurance, your that expense, your that home loan, this agriculture land, etc. etc. Why? So you get deductions from the tax amount, right? So that is a legal way of avoiding to pay the tax. But tax evasion is not something which cannot be tolerated, because that is putting a country India in more trouble. So now all these perspectives, be it lack of job security, be it absence of all these social security benefits, or be it tax evasion, all these things, what do they show you here? They point towards the need for formalization of the informal sector. That would at a faster pace, but it should be long term or sustainable also. See, making a change is okay, but the change should be continuous or long term or let's say sustainable. So thus, if you say, I can tell you that some of the important things that play a very major role with regard to formalization of the economy is policy interventions by the government. Point number one. Second is the fiscal support. Yeah, that is very important. The fiscal support by the government is something that is very, very important, I can say. Then education and also upskilling. Why? Because our country, India, consists of majority of youngsters, especially in the rural India, who are unskilled or semi-skilled. So now skilling, upskilling and reskilling them is very important, and that is why in the year 2015 exclusively, the National Skill Development program was put forward by the Government of India, and they have been doing it regularly in every single project that they bring out. Because when you are skilled, having a skill, then things take a next toll, right? Because that is again connected with the so-called unemployment problems and all. Yes, Karthik? E-Shram portal launch, Ministry of Labour and Employment. Is this correct? I'll come to that. Don't worry. I'll explain to that. Those are the benefits for formalization in informal sector. But in spite of that, it's not working properly. That is your E-Shram. That is also one of the point to be considered in that particular context. Clear? So now E-Shram portal is online stuff. Actually, it is this particular portal. Okay. It is basically, as you said, yeah, it comes under the Ministry of Labour and also Employment, and that is actually nothing but they keep a database of all the unorganized or informal sector workers. Why? Because they want to digitize or online do all the registrations of the unorganized sectors, guys, of workers, and then they want to link them to the various social security and protection status. So a track of those people. That's the whole point, to identify the main beneficiaries. Yes, Deva, what is it? What is the meaning of fiscal support? See, fiscal support is the kind of the revenue support. Let's say, for example, fiscal support is something related to the fiscal policy perspective, where the spending of the foregone revenue. Okay, let's say whatever your revenue come through taxation, whatever you have to spend out of it, you should have a match. It shouldn't be like 100 crore revenue and 200 crore expenditure, where you end up in borrowing another 100 crore, where you are liable to pay, the government is again liable for that 100 crore, but still the activity of the economy is getting carried forward. That is the whole point. Clear? That is the loans the government is getting, the other kind of money the government gets to carry forward the activity. That is the whole point. That's called as fiscal support. Because the revenue is less, but you got to carry forward the expenditure for the entire population, be it formal or informal sector. That is not the question of the government. They have to do it for the people, right? That is the thing. Is it clear? Yes, Deepesh, is this somewhere related to the fact that we should formalize private sector with security of tenure, allowance, etc., stuff like government sector? Obviously, Deepesh, you have to. That is the we have to. That is, private sectors are sectors which is not, we can never say that they're coming in the formal sector. See, tomorrow the private sector is saying, chalo, we have some difficulty over here, so we got to terminate few employees. Where will you go and strike? Where will you go and lodge a complaint? Whereas if you are in the coming out of the government sector, it's not that easy to take you off from there. The benefits of a government teacher and a private teacher, I'll tell you. Private teacher in the context, like I mean for the private company or the private institutions or whatever. Under government, it is not that easy for them to be terminated very fast. But then in private, it can happen the next day also, or let's say the next moment also. You understand? So similarly, government banks, private banks, you can take different examples. You can be fired like that. You know, there are multiple perspectives. This comes under discretion of management again. So the top level management or whatever it is. So now that is a whole different. But in government, it cannot be the case. Your security is always security unless and until that is fought out. Nobody can be put out just like that. Because somebody doesn't like somebody, this cannot be the case in the context of government sector. That is why people are all running behind the government sectors now. You think they're mad enough to do that? No. So now having said all these, so these all things, be it policy interventions, be it fiscal support, be it education upskilling, they played a very, very major role in what? The formalization of economy. Now, let me quickly take you to the most important topic of discussion, the informal sector and formalization. For that, you should have a background understanding of what exactly the informal economy of our country India is. That is why in the beginning of the class, I brushed you up through the most important keywords to understand what exactly informal economy for our country India is. That is, even today, majority of population, 90% is dependent upon the informal sector. That is why this formalization is important. Hai na? So now, as I told you, a quick revision of what is informal sector, because static understanding is also important. So now it is nothing but it represents the enterprise which are not even registered, where the employees do not have any sort of social security benefits, I can tell you. And if you see again in our country India, in many parts of the developing world, not only India, the other parts also, informality has reduced at a very sluggish pace. You cannot say that we have been reduced drastically, but at a very sluggish or reduced pace, I can tell you. And they are manifesting itself very visibly in the so-called urban area. See, this is not only, we think that people in rural area are put up in the informal sector. No, because of the increase in population, the urban India you can witness the informal sector's growth to greater extent. And you can see the poverty, you can see the unemployment and related factors also popping up over there. Clear? Now, another important controversial point, this is very interesting. Okay. What happened to our economic growth? Do you think our country India has come down? Definitely no. If you really take a statistical analysis, I can show you with evidences, or I'd say it's evident to all of us that despite witnessing rapid economic growth over the last 2 decades, which is 20 years, okay, we are doing great. You see, compared to 1990s and 2022, over the years we've developed a lot. Can you tell me that the same GDP or the same growth perspective is what we are having today? No, we have ups and downs, but then we have witnessed a rapid economic growth, guys, for the past 20 years. But despite all that, when you talk about the informal sector, what is happening? Even today, 90% of workers in our country, India, have remained informally employed. And now this is even more interesting because they produce about half of the GDP, gross domestic product. It is said that GDP is something which takes into consideration the entire, value of goods and service produced by the residents of our country, India, or let's say produced by the people who are operating within our country, India. The boundary should be within our country, India, whether it's a foreigner or Indian, for a period of 1 year. So now, in the informal sector, do you think they will be taken into consideration? That becomes a big question mark. You see, half of GDP what we have is being produced by informal sector people. But are we taking them into consideration? No, that is why, or that's the point where I can tell you that the GDP number or the statistics is to be analyzed or understood, because it is not going to make any sense out there. That's a reality, the raw reality, let me tell you that. Henna? Yes, it is. That is why they said, let us formalize informal sector and include the details or data of the informal sector people in the calculation of GDP, because then you can understand where does your country India stand. You see, 10% of people are put up in the formal sector or the organized sector. You are taking their contributions or let's say values for the calculation of a country India's GDP. Whereas 90% it is completely ignored. So do you think the 10% shows the growth of the real growth of a country exactly? Some people ask now, man, we have this poverty issue, we have this hunger issue, we have all these things. How can we call our country India to be the top 6 country in the entire globe or the top 5 country in terms of GDP in spite of not even being a developed country? This is the answer to it. Because the calculation what you do, even in the year 2015, the calculation or the method of calculating GDP was changed. But kya fayda hai? You are forgetting to include the majority of contributions for the people of the informal sector. That is why over the years, the economists who came up, they said that, come on, we got to really formalize the informal sector to have real in-depth understanding of our country's growth and development. And that is why, guys, this topic is very, very important. Not only for UPSC perspective, for you to understand your country, India, and the growth in a very important perspective, you need to really know this topic. That is the importance out there. Clear? It's a highly debatable one as well, where people will really tell, yeah, this has to be done. Right? And thus, here we go. If you take the Office of Official Periodical Labor Force Survey data, okay, what does it show you? It shows that 75% of informal workers, they are self-employed. Now, we can connect this with the Ministry of MSME using the BRRM technique, Brain Retention Memory Technique, and the method of interlinkaging. MSME. Why did MSME come up? Because a lot of people are unemployed. So now, getting trained, skill, upskill, reskill, automatically they can start up their own enterprises or startup in a small scale perspective with the availability of loans and other things. So now, even that particular data shows that 75% of informal workers out of 90% totally, they are self-employed and they are casual wage workers with average earnings which is much lower than the regular salaried workers. So now, does it really show that a country India is growing? Come on, this is a big question mark. So now, formalization is good, but formalization of informal sector, how far do you agree that we have been able to achieve it? That is a big question that you have to answer after the class. Okay, what you can do, that is something to be understood as a whole. These are the statistical points or the background data that supports your topic of discussion, guys. You can use all these for mains answer writing. See, now the prelims fever has started, registrations have started. I don't want even a single student to miss the 6 p.m. live class, because UPSC level MCQs, hit list topics, predictions, tricks, tips, and every single thing will be discussed for you people in that particular class. And taking into consideration the previous year's experiences, since 2020, 2021 and 2022. The percentage and the number of questions with the same predicted areas, the keyword, the similarity, we have already proven. 60 plus, 57 plus and questions like that. The proof is also shown to you via the analysis class in YouTube. Remember, with the screenshots and all the other stuff. So this year also, as per the predictions and as per the hit list areas, it will come. So make sure that you're not missing it out. Clear? Yes, Ram Kumar and the others. Perfect. Is it very clear, all of you? Now, having understood about this, guys, another important point with regard to the informal economy, okay, and formalization is nothing but if you combine the International Labour Organization's widely agreed definition with India's official definition, when you start combining them with regard to formal jobs as those providing at least one social security benefit, like such as EPF, Employment Provident Fund and all, I can tell you that, yeah, in that case, the share of formal workers in our country, India, stood at only 9.7%. That is in spite of you employed in a private sector. You have something called as EPF, Employees Provident Fund. From your salary, they'll take around, I think, 1,800 to 1,000 rupees. Okay, inside that band only. So now, and that is one of the social security benefits that you get. So even if you take that also into consideration, even if that is also being taken into consideration also, still the share, I can tell you the share of formal workers in our country is very less, hardly 10%, which is 47.5 million. What about the remaining millions and billions out there? Or let's say the 90%, oh my goodness, they're informal or unorganized sector workers, which has to be highly noticed and formalized at the earliest. Yes, Abhishek? Now, the next important point is the informal linkage. How is it linkage brought in? So now, the fiscal perspective, guys, I can tell you that it has a long lineage in our country, India. When you are going back to tax reforms, which started way back in the 1980s. So since then, the fiscal perspective has been highly connected to the linkage or the connection between the formal and the informal sector. Now, earlier, if you see our country, India, now the government, what do they do in an attempt to promote employment? The government of India, what do they do is like they try to protect every single small enterprises who are engaged in the labor intensive activities and all. What do the government do is they were kind of considered more important and to promote employment, because unemployment is a big social evil in our country, India, those days and even today also. But at least to solve that issue, they help these small enterprises by providing them fiscal concession, that is tax concessions, and regulating large scale industry by licensing. That is the ones who are having a better revenue income, they have been focused to get a better income compared to these small enterprises, so they can come up. But anyways, let me tell you something. Such measures taken by the government led to many labor intensive industries getting diffused into the informal or unorganized sector. Let me tell you, that is all something to be understood. So this is one point to be understood in the context of linkage between the formal and the informal sector. Clear? This was the end result that they got when they kept on doing like this. Now, the next important topic of discussion is, do you really need formalization? Come on. Will anybody say no to it? Definitely no. I don't think people can say no to it. There is a need for formalization. Don't you think so, guys? Yes, of course, it is indeed the need of the hour. Point number one, the formal sector is more productive than the informal sector. We all know that. Because the formal sector workers have a better access to what? Social security benefits, which is very important. But if you see, the persistent of the high share, let's say 90% of people are put up in the informal employment, in the total employment, and that represents what? The lack of adequate growth, or let's say the continuation of underdevelopment, which means we're not still developing. So yes, in no doubt, in a unanimous or a uniform way, we all can raise the voice and say yes, the three-letter word called as yes is very important for formalization as far as the country India is concerned. And if you see, according to Oxfam's latest global report, this is very useful for your prelims and all, guys. Please note it, and also for the mains answer writing, these points can be used as a supporting point to validate the point that you are putting forward in your answers. Okay. So now, yes, Ellen. So thus, if you see, as per the latest global report of Oxfam, it is said that out of 122 million people, okay, who literally lost their jobs in the year 2020, taking into consideration the ongoing pandemic and other repercussions, 75% were lost in informal sector. That's the private companies and IT things, which I told you. Oh my goodness, just think about them. Is this not putting or diverting a country India into more poverty? That is why now the next connected current affairs of this particular topic is the World Bank released a report called as Poverty and Prosperity Shared Report. Poverty and prosperity shared report. Even I have told you this before also, part of this particular report preparing, where we were a group of people who helped in collecting data and a part of them. Okay, so now this has been put forward as World Bank projects. It comes under the World Bank projects of every states, guys. They will give to states as well. So you will be having a part of this World Bank projects also. So now in the Poverty and Prosperity Shared Report released by World Bank, they even said that there is something called as new poor. It is not the people in the urban area, sorry, rural area, rather the urban area. So new poor is something like the one who is a middle class fellow will fall into low middle class. The one in the low middle class will become into completely poor category, and the ones in poor category will go into extreme poverty and starvation. So it was like not only the people in the rural area, but in the urban area could see visible changes. And the reason for that was the pandemic, and majority of them are the informal sector. And yes, they lost their jobs. Even the government employees had to sacrifice a lot with regard to their salary perspective. So you just think about the informal sector workers, when no growth, no investment, no production, nothing. How will the employers be able to employ the employees also to pay them salary? When they don't have any intake, how can the outcome come? Simple as that. Right. So now taking into consideration this particular scenario, guys, there is a need to provide social protection to the vulnerable informal sector. See, formal sector alone cannot survive in our country, India, because majority even today is put up in informal sector. So giving a social protection to them, or informal or unorganized workers, is very important. And this pandemic has literally highlighted the need for it since March 2020. The condition of many people across the country, India, more than the majority, was pathetic. And that one of the most important reason, or let's say the point to be highlighted, is with regard to the unorganized or the informal sector. Is it very clear for all of you? Perfect. And thus I can tell you, the business of informal economy, they're not directly regulated by the government. So they usually, what they do, they avoid the tax. I cannot say they avoid, they kind of evade the tax. Evasion is more applicable than avoiding, because they do every illegal ways to evade it also. Or what they do is they will avoid more taxes by hiding the income. 1 lakh they'll show it 50,000, 2 lakh they'll show it 1 lakh. You understand? So they kind of do all these things, hide their income, expense, and all from regulatory framework. So what happens? They are again not contributing to the so-called framework, which is again another issue. But now if you see the current budget, what is happening? The budget put forward by Nirmala Sitaram, put forward in the context, she is the one who presented. That's the thing. But there were economists who kind of prepared it. So now currently the budget released by the government, I'll put it in that framework. So even there, they said the middle class income people, we are going to be thrashed like anything. The middle class income people will be thrashed like anything and under the banner of taxes. Whatever they earn will go to the government gajana. Hai? That was the notion out there. That is, we are helping the middle class people, but we are taking off, looting everything from them. Then what is the point out there? You understand? So now the revenue perspective is very important for government, especially in this pandemic. But that doesn't mean that you will really get everything from the middle class people out there, because they constitute the majority of the population. You can take, but the taking or putting of the hands should have some credibility also. But what to do when you do the budget analysis, I will come into that, more detail into that. Take care. Now, having said that, since the informal economy is not directly regulated, guys, it is causing a lot of challenge, or let's say it poses a challenge to the government, as a major chunk of economy remains what? Out of the tax net. You're not able to kind of root them or try to connect them in any perspective. So again, the numbers, the figures you see in your GDP becomes a big question mark. Henna? Now, here we go. We are talking about formalization. We are talking about the informal sector to be formalized. But do you think it's that easy? Itna aasan nahi hai. There are so many issues or challenges with regard to attaining formalization. What is that? Point number one. Undoubtedly, I can tell you that widening the tax net and reducing tax evasion. That is, including more people under the tax net, which the government has shown in the current budget. And we know how far it is benefiting people. We know that. And how far it is triggering people also. Henna, that's another joke of the day. So now, but they say that undoubtedly, when you kind of widen the tax and reduce the tax evasion, that is illegal way of escaping of paying tax, they're very, very important. These two things are taken into consideration means, come on, you will really be able to overcome many of the challenges of formalization. However, though that is the case also, globally, the evidence suggests that the view that legal and regulatory hurdles alone are mainly responsible for what? Holding back formalization. That is true. The regulatory hurdles or difficulties is something that is really putting up the formalization on a hold, I can tell you. And even that is supported by a report released recently called as ECOWRAP. A recently released report called as ECOWRAP was done, was put forward, that do by a State Bank of India, the biggest commercial bank, I can tell you. And in that particular State Bank report, SBI report called as ECOVRA, they recently reported, okay, shrinkage in the informal sector share in the entire economy from 52% in the year 2017 to 15 to 20%. Do you really agree to this? There is a shrink or a reduction in the entire economy from 52 in 2017 to 18 to 15% in 20%. Clear? But then even today, 90% of people is dependent upon that. Here, I'm not talking about the people who are dependent upon the informal sector. Here, the share I'm telling. That is, the share of the overall economy is 52% in the year 2017 from informal to 18 to 15 to 15 to 20%. You got the point? This doesn't talk about the number of people who are dependent. I'm talking about the share. Clear? Don't get confused. That's a big challenge of formalization again. However, though these are the case, also these findings, guys, okay, they do not represent a sort of structured or let's say a sustained structural transformation from informal to formal sector. But one thing is there, even for a temporary basis also, I can tell you, yeah, a temporary outcome of this severe lockdown imposed in 2020 and 2021, because not only India, none of the countries knew how to deal with the pandemic. China did all the Giriyurika Kallatarams, and now the entire globe is affected, including China, because of this pandemic. Every now and then new virus has been popped up, from Omicron to that variant to this variant. And now the thing is, we have learned how to go with the pandemic. Compared to the year 2020, when this sprouted out, people were panicking, including the government, because we never knew how to deal with it. Now the vaccine perspectives and other things, see, when after taking vaccination, people fall sick, that is different. But then at least we are prepared to face the pandemic. So compared to the 2020 and 2021 progress of our country, now we are even more, we are even more focused, because the number of, cases of the COVID perspective reduced compared to 2020. It is still increasing, but then the ratio may be able to reduce to some extent. You understand? Anyways, so thus, talking about the challenges to formalization, having understood all this, guys, the policy efforts, or let's say the decisions taken by the government, okay, where they are aiming to bring the informal sector into the fold of formality, called as formalization informal sector. They are doing it by alleviating or eliminating legal and regulatory hurdles, and that is quite laudable as well. Don't you think so? Yes, it is, because that's indeed important. Yes, LM, what is it? Even though China is organizing Winter Olympics in few days, China will organize winter, summer, spring, all Olympics only. Pata nahi kya hai, wo hai, what all they will do again. We have to really be careful, because these fellows, don't even tell them that, don't even tell me that they are so smart enough in, doing things. Anyways, here we go. Because when you study the IR, that is international relations, the kind of comparison that we do with regard to the country India, China, Pakistan, and all the Pandavas, Kauravas, and Shagnis, you can bring all these points back to track. It's very easy to understand. So we know how far Shaguni is kind of working for the progress of other countries. Hai, we know nicely they're doing things. Fatafat, left, right, center you have to give for such kind of Kallatarams. Yes, guys. Anyways. Now, another important point which we should understand with regard to the challenge of formalization, or let's say informal sector, is, however, the initiatives taken by the government, they fail to appreciate that, or let's say how they initiate these initiatives, they fail to appreciate that the bulk of informal units and the workers, essentially petty producers, which consist of self-employed people or casual workers, they are told you, because majority of them, they're either self-employed or casual workers. Take care. We need to understand that though that is the case also, the results that we have got is quite limited. And now another important effort was taken by the government to make sure that to do a formalization and to overcome the challenge of formalization, they are making sure that the people are getting registered. The workers are registered, especially the informal or unorganized, in the e-Shram portal, which is coming under the Ministry of Labour and Employment, which I have told you in the beginning of the class. But then, though that is there also, it is no indicator of formalization of jobs. True, reality. Why you really need to have such kind of e-Shram portal when there is no indicator of formalization of jobs? And if at all you want it in that way, that is to be it an indicator of formalization of jobs, then the condition is Unless the workers are able to get all the social security benefits listed on the portal as a matter of right, then it is possible. Unless and until you get that, the social security benefits for the informal workers, you cannot say that the registration of workers on the e-Shram portal will be really, leading to formalization of informal sector. No, just by registering doesn't make a sense. Let's say, for example, all of us when are registered in the e-Shram portal. For example, you're all informal workers. When you don't get the benefit for the namesake, your name is there for data means that is not going to benefit at all. Hannah, that is something to be understood to a greater extent, right? So though these kind of efforts are there, somewhere or the other, the fulfillment is not up to the mark, or let's say the conversion is not up to the mark. That is the time where you fail as well. Clear? That is a big challenge. And thus another important point was, as I told you, increasing digitalization of financial transactions, or let's say financial perspective. That was very important. But then if you see, even if you increase online or digitalization registration official records, it is neither a necessary nor sufficient condition, I can tell you, for any enterprise or worker to be classified as formal. Just by getting registered, you tell me, let's say for example, you're working in informal sector. Okay. Now you're making things everything online. Okay. And you're having a registration of all the official records and all this stuff. Just by making it online, or let's say putting them in the transparent perspective, does it make you really a formal sector employee? No. Unless and until you get the social security benefits and other regularity or surety of the job, then it makes a lot of sense. So these are the biggest challenges. So now you cannot make them formal. You cannot make an informal sector formal just like that, because formal and organized sector has a lot of conditions to be followed. Directly under the purview of government, regular salaried workers, flow of income properly, and multiple benefits like that. So what we can do is, they cannot come directly into the government, but the social security status of benefits which is to be given to them can be followed. So that is something to be understood from this particular context. Clear? Now, don't you think the government has been doing a lot of push for informal sector? Yes, of course, they have been doing a lot of push, guys. No doubt in that. Point number one, informal operations. We know it poses a lot of challenges to the government. No doubt in that. Why? Because it is actually, putting up the issue, or let's say the inability to raise tax revenue, collect data, and regulate firms. That is the biggest challenge put forward by informal operations, guys, to the government. So now it is very important that the government is having a great push for the formalization of the informal or the unorganized sector. And I can tell you that India's tax GDP ratio, that is the revenue that you get, the revenue that a country India gets through taxation, how far it is in par with the economic growth. It is really in par with the economic growth, or it is not benefiting us. So now even I can tell you that the India's tax to GDP ratio, which is very important, they have been stuck. And you know what is the reason for that? Very surprisingly, interestingly, our country India's informality. Oh my goodness, this is the biggest point to be understood. We talk about India's, tax GDP ratio. We talk about the revenue that the country gets is associated with the growth of our country, etc., etc. But then we have been stuck. It is not that high for us, and many times we have been stuck also. What is the reason? Informality, and that is indirectly, or let's say directly, impacting or affecting what? The major social indicators like education and healthcare. And today, education and healthcare is even more important. Only then your HDI, that is Human Development Index, can be improved. Not only then, even for the growth and development of your country, India, these factors are even more important. So now you see how they are connected. Multiple points are connected under one single umbrella, guys, using the method of interlinking. That's why I said this is not a single topic. This topic will take you through multiple dimensions and multiple perspectives of what to study and what not to study. You understand? Because it makes you understand where do you need to figure out everything as a circle. It's like the vicious circle of poverty, a kind of circle that comes around and around. You understand? These are the hard realities, or let's say the harsh realities, which we normally take it lightly. But then the bitterness is not that acceptable, guys, when it comes to reality and to the affected people who are in the informal sector. That is why they say that the government push for formalization is very important, because these 2 points which I have been telling you here are the supporting points. Fine? And thus I can tell you that when there's a government push for formalization, it will help the individuals and firms to grow and achieve what? Scale and productivity, no doubt in that. And now, due to more revenues to the government, the tax GDP ratio will definitely increase. When you're kind of formalizing the informal sector, automatically more revenues will come to the government. So now what happened? Now we are talking from the government perspective, not the people perspective. More revenue means more taxation. That is what we saw in the current budget also. But what is happening to people? Whatever they earn is not is completely going out of their hands. So where are they growing? Kuch nahi. But the government should actually give them everything in that case. But that is also not happening. So it becomes even more tight and difficult for the people to carry forward. But what to do? This is what they said. So now, due to more revenues into the government, the tax to GDP ratio, which has been stuck because of informality, through formalization, they say it will increase, which might even lead to what? More investment in social sector. Yes, LM, what is it? Ma'am, how education? Let me tell you. The money that you get from informal, okay, to when you make it formalized, you're getting more revenue via taxation. So now that revenue can be utilized for the expenditure activities, the economic and the social expenditure activities. Under economic, social activities come, or social indicators comes education, health sector. You're investing more. When you invest more in the education, automatically what happens? You are educating the individuals. So the end result or the outcome is what? The outcome is employment. So you see that, how it is connected. So now the economic indicator and the social indicator, most importantly, can be, can be boosted up. Did you understand how it is connected? So that's why I told you guys, this is not a simple topic where you'll come, you'll say, okay, formalization is very important. We got to do that. We got to do this. No, S and A. Well, the whole important point is how well you're able to project it to the core. How well you're able to express it to the core is what matters here. Did you understand, all of you? Perfect. Yes, Soham, good morning. Where were you, my child? Okay. Fine. Perfect. So now you tell me, the government push for formalization is quite important, right? But then here I'm not talking about the people perspective. They say that they will be benefited because they'll come under social security protections, they will be able to get the benefits. But then the income that sustains, or let's say remains in their hand, will be less. But then from the government point of view, from the development point of view, come on, tax to GDP ratios, all these things will increase, which will definitely lead to more investments in the social sector, which is health and education, which is again even more important. But in that case, even if you go to private hospital, now people will say, "Chalo, give us a treatment for free." Then we are okay to give even half the salary of us to government as a tax, no issues. See, that is, anybody will question the same way, or anybody will ask the same way. So you got to really make things in that part. Do you think the current budget, the kind of taxation thing what they have done, will actually enable people to pay the taxes without any sort of collaterals or tax evasions? No. They'll find more loopholes and more ways to escape and evade taxes, no doubt in that. So it's kind of tempting them more to do it through such kind of policies is a reality. That's a mentality. You cannot go and file somebody or put them in a jail for such kind of thing. We are not able to even figure it out what exactly is happening, right? It's not one or two people. The majority does that. So it becomes a point of, question. Clear? Yes, LM, investment in education and healthcare sector and other field. Yeah, obviously, that is actually connected. Because when revenue is there, Lina, we can do that. And now this is like, how can the revenue come? See, this informality and formalization and all, it talks about how the people can be protected under the social security benefits, how income can be increased, how revenue can be increased. So now that revenue is what? With that, only the government can do the expenditure activities in multiple domains of perspective to maintain the rapid economic growth pace that you want to have. Simple as that. That is what this particular topic is telling you. Simple, cut and straight to the point. This is actually telling you. Take care. Yes, Deepesh, what is it? Definitely they'll escape more. Obviously, yeah, that's a reality. Hai. And thus, I can tell you that the government push for formalization is another important point also. When you actually transform, or let's say transform your economy towards formality, it could bring benefits. How? How can they bring benefits? The government is saying that by establishing the rule of law and the equality of rights between citizens, entrepreneurs, and workers will increase. Do you think this is really possible? Come on, this is something to be understood in that manner. Do you really think this is possible? This is very debatable. Yes, it is. That is what they say. See, they're transforming to formality, right? Yeah, that is true. They can have the quality of rights. But yeah, the taxation will also be increasing, no doubt in that. And thus, I can tell you that formalization will spur the growth. Will damn sure it will increase the growth, no doubt in that. And thus, more direct tax payments directly to the government resource by individuals as well as enterprises. It will not only create a fiscal space for the lower GST rates, but also give a lot of incentive for whom, guys? We the citizens, to demand better governance. See, they are saying that if the formalization is coming, don't think that the tax is increased or let's say the tax is kind of high. But the whole point here is when there are more of direct tax payments without evading taxes. Okay? Slowly and gradually, they're saying currently we pay 18% or let's say 12% GST for various products. So normally when the revenue increases, they're saying that, see, today it may not happen or tomorrow it may not happen, but in the coming months or years, automatically when that has been coming up, the revenue is coming up, a more fiscal space for lower or less goods and service tax will be done. At the same time, for better governance, okay, it will give a lot of incentive for the citizens, for we the people, because we are paying and the government is doing for us. We as a responsible citizen, we have that notion. So for better governance also, there will be a huge demand. And you know something, even in the last economic survey, they said governance and trust is the public good. Because when people don't have trust in the governance of the country, there is no point at all. There is no itna faida, kuch nahi yaar, no faida at all for whatever the government is doing. That is why the economist was very particular in those perspectives in the last economic survey analysis. This year also, they'll definitely say the same thing. Because a good governance and a trust is more important, guys. Otherwise, the country cannot carry forward like that. Clear? And thus, I can tell you that it becomes tough to involve in money laundering and illegal activities like, terror funding and all, because transparency will increase. Because you're coming to the formal web. See, but let me tell you that whatever also, if you want to do Kallattaram, if you really want to do to that level, the core level, come on, people can still do it. Nothing's going to prevent them from doing it. Okay, let me even be more honest to you people on that. Now, having understood all this, you tell me that when there is a government push for formalization, won't the youngsters benefit? Because, as far as the demographic dividend is concerned, the next important point to be understood, because our country, India, has a high number of young working population, which contributes to the demographic dividend. And if you see the north part of our country, India has the highest demographic dividend compared to south part. And the youngsters are even more, right? So now connecting the opportunities for our country, India, with regard to the formalization of informal sector is a young population. Let me tell you, 65% of our country, India, they are less than 35 years of age. See, up to less than 35 is the so-called young blood, you can say. After that, yeah, at least you get into that, you're not getting into direct old age, but that less than 35, till 35, you are the youth, the hardcore youth, I can tell you. So now, 65% of our country, India, guys, the population, they are less than 35 years of age. And out of them, a greater proportion, they are literate today, more literate compared to the previous years. So now, when there is a more formalization of informal sector, now people, they go into the formal sector only. Even if it is not government also, they're starting up their own enterprises, they are doing that, they're doing this. But let us bring them in the social net of giving protections to the employees and other perspectives. So we are actually formalizing what the informal sector. So yes, it is even more a growth opportunity or perspective for our country, India. And adoption of mobile-based apps. Everything is digitalized. Today making a payment via the QR code, via Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm. And also, many a times the purchase is also happening via that. So the technological advancements of the online transactions has made it even more comfortable. So that is all because of the formalization perspective, right? And also a push towards cashless economy. Let me tell you that. So now it's not possible for a country, India, to be completely cashless. Because even today, I'll tell you, if not 98% or 95%, 90% of population, guys, still depends upon cash transactions. And that figure has reduced and come only up to 89%, 0.9. That's it. Not less than that. Now, what you can do in this scenario? The COVID-19 pandemic has actually helped people to reduce the dependence on cash directly and use all this Phone Pay, Google Pay and all the other third-party applications where you scan, pay and all this stuff, where people are forced to open bank accounts and do transactions, where they're digitally getting literate for using these transactions. So now this is actually contributing the next biggest objective of the government, that is with regard to financial inclusion. Every single people via the JAM. What is JAM? JAM 20, Jan Aadhaar Mobile Card 20. They are coming under that. They are coming under that financial inclusion perspective. So at the end of the day, even the farmers, the illiterate people, they are also coming under that. So now doubling the income of farmers by the year 2022, even that objective has been attained through this perspective. So initially a country, India, cannot become cashless, but let me tell you that we can be a less cash society. I have done a paper, guys. I published a paper and that was awarded as the best research paper also. And that's why recently I posted an award, right? Research Excellence Award from the INC, Institute of Scholars in New Delhi, in association with Ministry of Micro, Small, Medium Enterprise. Okay. So there, this was the paper, the impact of cashless economy in a country, India. I have even shared the paper before also to you people. You can go and Google it out. It's there. Even the link also I've sent you. So now, in that, the suggestion which I gave was also, see, you cannot become cashless very fast. And now COVID-19 pandemic has actually aggravated the issue. That is very well understandable. But then you can be a less cash society. That is, you can have cash transactions, at the same time embrace the online transactions also. And this pandemic has actually supported more, I can tell you, because of spread of disease and other perspective. So slowly and gradually you will become cashless. Because cash is still the king of Indian economy. It's a monarch of Indian economy. People cannot, even the bankers, guys, The trust has not come. Oh, no, let me not do any transactions via the Google Pay or Phone Pay. What if it doesn't go? Even if it is a small amount, you will do. But if it's in lakhs of transactions, you kind of think, pause for a while. You still go to a bank, you put a check, you withdraw it, you give it. Again, the black money, white money perspective, the taxation perspective, sab kuch comes there. So, the mentality has to change a lot. Then all these things will also fall in track. Clear? For that, formalization of informal sector is also very important. Then these kind of opportunities can be embraced to the maximum. Let me tell you that also. Clear? So now don't you think so, guys? Formalization is the need of the hour, as I told you in the beginning of the class. Yes, it is. And how far you agree? 90% or 100%? You should be agreeing at 100%. But taking into consideration the other perspectives, but doesn't mean that formalization of informal sector will put people in the more burden of tax net. Because for the government, revenue is more important for conducting any activity, but not at the cost of any citizens. You understand? That is to be understood because the current budget is showcasing that. That is why I brought this topic. People will say in one stroke, come on, ma'am, formalization is very important. But you understand, tax to GDP ratio can never be increased without increasing taxes, without burdening the citizens of our country, India. So this will not be immediately reflected in the benefit that you get with regard to education, health sector and all from government. It will take time because initially revenue has to increase, but the burden will still fall on who? The workers. And now informal sector people are just brought in the so-called net. The whole advantage is they'll be coming under the social security protection net, or let's say they'll get a lot of benefits. That's the whole point. Clear? And now this is even more interesting, guys. Some said 100, some said 10%. Can you believe there are some firms, okay, who don't at all want to be formalized. They still want to be informal. Why? You look at this. Why some firms want to remain informal? Come on, have you ever heard this before? Why? Let's quickly have a look into that particular perspective also. If you see, most of the businesses, they're not government oriented or anything. They hide from the regulatory system. Now, that is imposing too high a burden and they kind of formalized. So now, if firms actually comply or let's say they follow all the regulation of government, now their cost will be too high to offer competitive prices to customers. So we the customers or consumers will not get quality products at reasonable prices. It will be too high if they're complying with all the regulations. So now, what happened? Customers will start looking elsewhere. Even they will even prefer buying imported products. If you're paying the same price for the domestic product, why not import it once? Or let's say the informal economy, and the firm will go out of business. So now the big shots or whoever, they're not formal sector people. They're not coming under the direct purview of government. They still choose to remain informal for this particular reason. That is, which means there are big shots out there who are in the informal sector because see, they're not coming under government directly. You cannot call them organized sector. They are paying taxes, that and all is there. And for them, social security protection is not that important because they have created their benchmark of that. So now they still choose to be informal because they still want to carry forward the highest level of kallatharam. Let me tell you that. Or the corruption. You got the point. So this is something to be understood, guys. A different notion of understanding the very same topic. So in many lectures or classes or sessions, this particular topic will not be said because see, nobody wants to be informal, we think. But let me tell you honestly, no. Let's say, for example, a big businessman like Vijay Mallya or let's say Ambani, they never want to be completely formalized. If they are like that, then they can never offer to us whatever service they are offering, be the geophone, the connection, or let's say any other products that they sell us at competitive prices. It will be too costly. So what will consumers do? We'll definitely go for import or let's say other informal economy where we can get for cheap. You got the point. So this is to be understood. Clear? You never expected that this point will come, guys. Why firms want to remain informal? How can they even think of remaining informal? Why they want to, come out of the benefits given by government? Because they feel that is even more important to them. So this has to be broken. That is why the government is kind of putting all the policy interventions. But at the end of the day, what is happening? The middle class people or the ones who are trying to come up, they have been affected the most. Only after affecting them, now these guys will be affected. These big shots will be affected. But what to do? Majority of population is them. So that is one condition, guys, or let's say one factor which is very pathetic at some point of time. But the government cannot be, saints now. Chalo, we'll give everything for free. No. Free meals also has a value, guys. After 1 or 2 days, it is free, so we don't want. Even if you offer them so good things also, it's free, I don't want. But even if you give ₹1 charge for something, it has a value. Now, why I'm telling this is even in the Unacademy Plus platform, people ask, ma'am, do this free class. I will do. But then, let's say teachers like me will do free classes for the revolution of education. But how long? How long will be able to give everything for free like that? Everything has a value, guys. To ace your preparation, to make sure that you are on the proper line, I'm still telling you, go for the Unacademy paid or plus subscription because the fees is very, very less. No other academy will offer you that. And India's top educators, none of us are going and working in offline platforms now. I was a regular faculty of offline, you won't believe. Even today, I will love to be a visiting faculty, and I do that. But I 90% I feel comfortable working in Unacademy because I can teach you early morning or late night also, sitting at the comfort of my home using the best infrastructure facilities through this platform. So I am able to connect to every single learner in my country, India, at my discretion. There is no so-called schedule where I have to finish it on that time. Any topic, even extra time also I can take and complete. So this is the biggest benefit. You understand? So I want you people, those who are not plus subscribers, especially my free class students, I'm doing a scholarship for you people. So make sure that you're grabbing that opportunity. And this is again a part of revolution of education to really help the people from rural India, from middle class and all. So utilize it. It is limited only for 2 months. I'll offer February and March, not after that. I will not do after that. 2 months I'll do. Go for loan. I'll help you out to the maximum because see, giving a damn 60 to 70,000 discount from the fee amount is not a joke. 70, I mean, not 16 and 15. Okay. So make sure that you're getting the subscription. And the code is Nisha is like, just connect me. Don't take subscription directly. You tell me, you connect me, and I will give you a link. I will do the scholarship stuff, and then you can pay the fees. Either full amount or let's say the loan perspective team will help you out in that. Clear? But the code is the same. Nisha is live. Take care. So you get extra discount via scholarship. At the same time, you are coming under my personal mentoring also, along with an extra mentor who will be given to you as well. Clear? Yes, Soham. You bring topics that directly strike the brain. Thank you, Soham. Yes, Deepesh, you can get back to me via the WhatsApp or Telegram. I will inform you the same. I'll pass off your contacts, so don't worry. Team will help you out. That is if it is 1,58,000. Currently, it is 1,28,000 now. Solid 55,000 you can minus out of it, or let's say you can 35,000 you can minus out of it. 20% I'll give you, damn sure. Normally they offer you 10%. I'll give you damn 20%. For example, if 10 of you're coming with 10 people, you're telling me, ma'am, we 10 people want to do this, you're doing the scholarship. Then I will even give you 10 to 20 means our group means I'll even give you 35. I will tell you that. Anyways, you can get back on the same. Yes, Ellen, what is it? My one question striking in my mind. Yeah, ask me what is the question that strikes in your mind. Let me brainstorm your brains also in the morning. Yes, ask me what is it? Quick. So he is typing, I believe. Anyways. Now, as I was saying, this is the reason, guys, why the firms want to remain informal. The harsh reality, or let's say the true reality out there. And now you know something. MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises, because of the so-called, formal and informality now, they are the worst affected one. Because these people, the MSME people now, see, compared to the firms, big business people, they want to hide from the regulatory system. But these MSME, they require licenses, construction permit, property registration requirements, and comply with labor laws. Now, because of this, you know what they do? The problem is of cost imposed by regulatory compliance. They kind of avoid it. So the firms still want to be informal. This is the reason. Not only big business shops, even the small enterprises who are coming under the MSME category, with all these things are too difficult and too costly for them at the initial point of time. So what they'll do? Let us try to be informal only. That is way more better they feel. Clear? And thus, again, the next important thing. Yes, Ellen, tell me, don't throw stone onto my head. Yeah, I will not do that. You ask the question first. Now, back to what I was telling you. So now, another important point why the firm want to remain informal is because, see, on average, a firm will spend 243 hours a year for filing and paying taxes, and the total tax payment is, let's say, 61.7% of profit. See, I am really one of them who's really doing it, guys. So we feel the pain. See, I will never say I'm happy paying. See, I'm happy paying and contributing for my country, India. But then, out of the majority of the payment, you see 61.7% of profit it is going. And if you see, GST has not reduced these compliance costs. So now this is something which even makes you more, you start thinking, even if you're not corrupted in your minds, you tend to become the kind of business people or the people, let's say the others, they tend to think like that because they don't want to, completely give more than half of their revenue or profit to the tax perspective. And even if you see to lower the GST, it is said that you can do that if informal sectors are formalized. But then if I can tell you another important thing why the firms choose to be informal is because the GST imposes a new system of compliance that requires frequent filing and a dysfunctional receipt matching mechanism, guys, under the Goods and Services Tax network. So what is happening? Again, it is a kind of problematic issue. And GST is indirect tax; they're not direct. Yes, so tax system needs to be progressive. See, It is progressive. That is, the rich is paying more tax and poor is paying less tax based on the ability to pay. The principle or the canon of ability to pay is what the progressive system of taxation is based on. And that's what our country India follows. But that is for the direct tax perspective. But indirect tax perspective, come on, GST is coming over there and now GST, you, me, whether you earn 1 lakh or whether you earn 50,000 or whether you 10,000, if you want to buy a same product, for example, this mouse, the same price, the same tax you have to pay. You cannot go and say, chalo, I am earning only this or she is earning only that or he is earning more. No. GST is indirect. They are the hidden are the most popular taxes. Inclusive with the price of commodity, even if you are whatever income category you belong to, if you want to purchase that, you got to really pay for it. So now you can reduce the GST. That is something. You understand? So thus, the slow judicial system, which takes more time to settle disputes, is again another reason why the firm remains to be informal. Did you understand, guys? These are actually some points which telling you that why the firms want to remain informal. And these points, some or the other way, you can never say directly no to it, because here the vast affected MSME people are also coming, the vulnerable people. So you will think about them. Arey, chalo, at least let them grow. You will start thinking. So here the points are so valid. I've made sure that I've taken only 5 to 6 points, and those are highly valid, supporting. Chalo, informality is also okay for them. But on a larger perspective, we cannot embrace it, because we need to really formalize informal sector, taking into consideration multiple other perspectives. Because the future of our country, India, this will not help. Maybe as of now, but for future, you have to undergo the pains. That is what the government is also saying. Clear? Yes, LM, what is it? Is Unacademy, formal or informal? And if it is informal, then will it be formal? 2 to 3 on your heads now, not stones. I'll start giving you 2 to 3 on your heads for such kind of question. See, Unacademy, we don't come under the government net. We are not organized. We are an organized sector, but then we don't come directly under the organized, means not the other wala formal sector I'm talking. Okay. So here, but we get all the benefits. But here, all the benefits of employee perspective, that is there. But see, compared to government job, the surety, sometimes a crash happens, a recession in the economy happens. Then if the private companies have to be shut down or closed, come on, then it becomes a question mark, not like the government perspective. You understand? Morning, getting up and coming for class to ask all these questions, sir. Your brains need to be not drilled, to be, hidden harder. It is good, but good that your brain is working like this. I like it. When my students ask such kind of questions, so some people avoid it, but you know about me. I'm vocal in what is to be said, which is a reality. You should never, you should never be scared, or you should never fear of what you really want to say out in a nice way. Anyways, here we go. The next important point is Atmanirbhar and informal sector growth. We know that the pandemic has given rise to this 20 lakh crore economic stimulus package, which is Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, or the Self-Reliant India Mission. Now, how do you think this is benefiting the informal sector? Now, when the one enterprise, okay, it is said that one enterprises, once they must undergo drastic internal transformation. Progressively, they'll start converging or mingling at incremental formalization. For that, they have to do some spontaneous and self-propulsed transition, guys, into all economically viable units, which means that slowly and steadily, they'll start transforming them, guys, from the informal to the formal sector perspective. And in the Atmanirbhar or the Self-Reliant India Mission, it is said that because the vision of Atmanirbhar exposes the informal sector to all the global competition. See, informal means the unorganized sector, domestic production, or let's say the domestic economy is given more importance, or we want a country, India, to be more self-dependent or self-reliant by stopping the imports, or let's say by reducing the dependence on imports, etc., etc. So now this is forcing our informal sector to be more, exposed to global competition. So now the entrepreneur, especially the MSME people and the other people in the unorganized sector, in the context of self-reliant or let's say Atmanirbhar mission, they must start embracing the subtle art of strategic positioning in the global mega supply chain. Otherwise, it is not possible. This informal sector growth and Atmanirbhar cannot carry forward if this is not the case. So this has to be followed. Clear? Because you are taking a step. Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan is what, guys? A step towards self-reliant India. So when that step towards self-reliant India means majority of people are in the informal sector. And yes, the informal sector has been focused in what? In the Atmanirbhar perspective, we all know that. If you see the Diwali sale, we had a complete ban on all the imports of the, crackers and all from other countries. And if you see, they crossed crores of rupees ka sale from the domestic market itself for Diwali, the crackers I'm talking. So that is a success of the Atmanirbhar perspective. We are actually moving to a self-reliant India. Don't you think so? The revenue was huge. You understand? So those kind of examples can be quoted out in this perspective. And the next important point is Atmanirbhar and informal economy is India as a labor surplus economy. No doubt in that. Because 80% of India's workforce, they're employed in the informal sector. And to be honest, 90% of population even today is dependent upon the informal sector. and they are 80% is employed over there as well. Clear? And the change in the first two spheres, that is higher capital intensity led enhanced labor productivity and also the flexibility that you have. That is having a lot of repercussions and issues, guys, with regard to what the availability and quality of jobs in our country, India. So now most of them gets diverted to the informal sector where formalization is missing up. So it is very important that formalization of informal sector is very, very important. Clear? Yes, Manu, good morning. Now, the next important question is another 5 minutes we have to wind up. What could be the solution? We spoke about informality, we spoke about formalization of them, the challenges, the background data, and even why the firms even choose to be informal. That particular interesting part also we understood, where the point of vulnerability for the MSME people was projected. But in spite of all this, I'll tell you something, we need to really formalize the informal sectors, guys, because that is very important for the future and the long-term goal of our country, India. That's what the government is doing now, I can say. So now, having understood that, the way forward for this particular issue is, yes, so what is it? Ma'am, the concept you told, is it for that reason GST collection has brought the highest number of income for the government, surpassing corporate tax for 2022? Saw that GST 16%. See, that's what I'm telling you. If GST has to be lowered, then formalization of informal sector is very important and automatically it will be lowered. But now that is not happening. They're really trying to do it. Once you achieve them, then it will be lowered. But since we're not able to achieve them, now to achieve it, what they're doing is like they're increasing GST because revenue has to come in some way, right? That is the whole point here. Clear? Because even the informal sector has to, pay GST. For example, you have a textile shop. Okay. Now, you are not coming under the government. It's a private unit, but it's a textile shop. You have to get registered, get the license, pay GST also. Otherwise, you can't do any purchase or let's say transactions out there in the bulk to sell it to customers again. You got the point. So that is the way in which it matters a lot. Yes, fool, what is it? Center does not give money to certain states, but they get more tax from us. That is what we discussed, Napul. Remember the GST class? GST, an unfinished agenda, which we discussed in the month of January in the same 6 AM class. You can even connect the same as well. See, that is why multiple topics like this I've taught you before. See, when I take a topic, I make sure the topic is having a connected linkage. So when I take one, already I've known the other thing. So automatically the method of interlinkaging or the connectivity makes even more simpler. This is called as structural way of studying also. For the sake of studying, don't study. Study with the formal structure with connected points and interlinkaging. So automatically, fatafat, BRMM, brain retention memory method, which I've taught you, works 10 times faster. Let me tell you that. Clear? Now, the regulatory framework. Point number 1, with regard to the way forward for this particular informality challenges for our country, India. One is simpler regulatory framework. If you really make the regulatory framework government, guys, more simpler, automatically you can see a transition of informal sector to formal sector. Really, I'm telling you. See, when it takes too long for you to get a license, then registration, then tax filing, etc., people really do not want to come under the tax wing, guys. No doubt in that. And they still choose to be informal. So make the regulatory framework quite simpler. You understand? So allow people the time and give enough time for people to get adjusted with the modern and digitized online formal system. So when you simplify the registration process, when you are easing rules for conduct of business and lowering standards of protection for formal sector workers, all these will automatically bring what? Informal enterprise, unorganized enterprise and the workers in the fold of formality. Next way forward is education, investment and skilling. That is true. See, when you continuously have a dominance of informality, guys, automatically what happens? It is showing underdevelopment. So when can you get your economy formalized? Only when informal sectors are becoming more and more productive, guys. For that, you need greater capital investment and increased educational literacy and also skill development. When that has been imparted to workers through education, again, skill can be imparted. When skill is there, employment comes. So automatically, this will enable them to become more formalized, even the informal sector people. Next is MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises, strengthening them as well because nearly 40% of informal workers, they're employed with MSME. We all know that, Hannah. Therefore, it is very, very important that, guys, we are strengthening the MSME because that is automatically going to lead to the recovery of the economy, create more employment opportunities and also formalization of economy. So this is another way forward which is having a lot of practical implementations. Next is financial support for formalization. Yeah, in the context of loan, for example, the Mudra loan scheme given by government, then the other perspectives of government. So now when you give a financial aid or support to help these small scale industries, they stand on their own. And that's a very crucial step, I can tell you, in bringing what? In bringing them to the so-called organized or formal sector. For example, the Mudra loan I told you, then Startup and Stand Up India scheme. All these things, don't you think they're helping the youth carve a niche in the organized sector? Of course they are, no doubt in that. So these kind of things are quite important for what? Formalization of informal sector at the earliest. If these way forwards, like simplifying the regulatory framework, investing more in education and skilling, and then strengthening MSME and all the other perspective like financial support or formalization, then you can see end results. Clear? So thus, this has to change. What does the picture signifies here? This picture signifies the harsh reality, or let's say the raw reality of the informal sectors. You think the people in informal sectors, everybody is doing great? They're finding hard to meet their ends and means. This has to change. So this picture signifies that, don't you think this has to change? So thus I can tell you that we need to make sure that this informality is reducing to the core. Clear? Is it very clear, all of you? So thank you so much. We're done for the day, and I hope you really enjoyed the month of February start with another interesting topic out there. Indeed, a topic which will brainstorm your people. So thank you so much, my young officers. Make sure that you are also liking and subscribing the channel and liking this particular video and putting a valuable feedbacks in the comment box, which is very, very important. And tell me what are the next topics that you want in the coming days. So accordingly, we'll plan. And regarding budget, nothing to worry. It will be done in the YouTube exclusively or in the special classes, whichever either ways. And mostly in YouTube I'll do. So wait for the highlights. It will happen on Saturday or Sunday. Clear? Yes, Soham? Not tomorrow. I'll do it on Saturday, Sunday. Tomorrow we'll do some other topic. Let it be Saturday, Sunday because I need 2 hours to complete it. Because the discussions will be like that. It will be like a marathon serial. Do. Okay? Yes, Deepesh, but when are we going to have the PDF of these topics? So in the group, I'll start sending Deepesh, the new group that we'll create today. Na? I'll send it across and you can, go through that. Clear? So yes, now tell me, formalization of informal sector, which is the need of the hour? How far you agree? 100%? The pros, the cons, the background data, the way forward. Now, how far you agree depends upon what? You cannot, don't say 100%. How far you agree is dependent upon the way forward and overcoming the challenges of formalization of informal sector, because connect the perspective of tax to GDP ratio where the burden is more on we the citizens, especially the middle class people. You got the point. So don't say 100% just like that. Think and say. When you express your viewpoints, guys, a little of brain is required. Fatafat, don't give answers like that. Okay? A little of brain is required for the same as well. Clear? Provided the way forwards are taken into consideration and implemented, then you will agree 100%. Okay? So I hope that was an interesting topic out of the day for you to begin your day. So make sure that you forget the mistake and you learn the lesson. And have a great Thursday, my young officers. I'll see you all at 6 p.m. today. For what? We are starting our hit list UPSC level MCQ series, guys, for Prelims 2022 with a 360-degree coverage of the topic of discussion along with the exclusive and the unique K-Easy technique, keyword elimination comparison technique introduced by me to crack any tricky or brainstorming MCQs out there. So catch me live at 6 p.m. guys. The link is given in the chat box. So you can just click it, use the code Nisha live to attend these special classes. Clear? So 6 a.m., 6 p.m. These two 6 a.m. and p.m. block your calendars and it is exclusively for my series. Even for the month of February, March, April, hereafter, no change in 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Please understand. Nisha ma'am class is wo itna ka time hai. ठीक है? Clear? And the special series I'll be informing you. So coming Saturday, Sunday, we'll have the carnivals of current affairs MCQs for the month of Jan completely. 5 classes, 10 classes we'll have and we'll finish it off. Clear? That will happen on Saturday, Sunday. This Saturday, Sunday, I'll be doing that. Yes, Deepesh, sure, would love to see more often now. Up to we have UPSC notification. Of course, UPSC ka notification बहुत important है. So then you need to. I'll keep showing you that in next class onwards. UPSC ka notification, UPSC ka, the prelims form. I'll keep showing you that in every class. See, you have filled this. So this is more important. Not in the YouTube class. In the free class, I'll show you because MCQs are for prelims. So if this is important, you have filled up this. Then take these sessions. It's indeed more important. Take care. Chalo. Thank you so much, my officers. I'll see you all soon. So keep the code Nisha IAS live. Free class plus class, the same code. And those who want to get extra scholarship and discounts under my, mentoring, feel free to get in touch with me. Will definitely help you, be it loan perspective as well. Clear? So once again, thank you so much. See you all for the next session. Till then, bye-bye. Thank you. Have a great day and Jai Hind.